Hello, everybody. Welcome to Deluge. My name is Ren the Hollow, and um, wanted to keep going with Deluge. I'm basically visiting every game that I've ever played and just going into different parts. I am gonna get back into Doki Doki Literature Club, so don't worry about that. But Deluge has been very popular and people have been asking for it. So let's continue. I think it's this one. Our house has had a well kept, almost sterile appearance to it. Oh, yeah. Please like and subscribe. Join our Twitch streaming, or follow my Twitch here. We're almost at 10 subscribers or followers over there. And thank you for the 10 followers or subscribers. I appreciate you. Oh, yeah. Let's get hydrated. Sorry for the yawn. Let's get hydrated. After prying, she told me her mother was touring at the moment. She was a famous conductor, Mina Mengelberg, currently serving as a musical director in Vienna. I mentioned I've seen her name on the playbill once I still live in the city. Oh, this is my room. I hate it though. Empty houses give me the creeps. I mean, there's creepy music. That's why I'm usually in the office. She produced a large book from her bag, same one I had seen her reading at school. I'm reading Oswald Spiegeler. Can we not have these difficult names? At the moment, Untergang des Abend. Okay. Untergang des Albenlandes. There you go. I don't know. I have to do it with an accent, otherwise I won't be able to pronounce it. She folded it open to the page that she marked it with a slip of paper. A boundless mass of human being flowing in a stream without banks upstream, dark past within, our time sense loses all powers of detention, restless or uneasy fancy conjures up a geological period to hide the away in an eternal unsolvable riddle. Downstream, a future even so dark and timeless, such as the groundwork of Boston pictures in human history. She closed the book and handed it to me. Modern yearning. 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 We have left the natural state far behind. Can you not piano? Sorry I dragged you all the way down here. Who is this person? I know you're really not interested in this newspaper business. It's just I talk in myself if I don't have someone else to talk to whenever I'm catching on to something great. It drives me insane. I give her a reassuring nudge. I guess you know my predicament. She smiled. I have a feeling this church piece is going to be big, bigger than anything we've done before, bigger than the Sanford House affair. What's the house affair you keep talking about? I thought before I realized what I was doing. Didn't I tell you? Our exposé on the house affair was our finest hour, the scoop that truly put the Sunday Obit on the map. It was around this time last year, the Evening Mirror, smutty tabloid, published the compromising photographs of influential politicians. And then we're taking inside a notorious piano Brunsberg Carvot Club, where he was being courted in a dancing girl. Politician, it's question, his name is Leopold Marquis of Abbott, to be precise, a member of nobility. He still holds a seat in the Abbott City Council. Leopold hails from the lineage of all lords of Isle. He has quite a reputation as a party animal, and for that reason, the incident initially blew over without much ado. I don't know why it was like Nosferatu. 4 months later, we received an anonymous package at the office, set with photographs, placing Marquis Leopold at the lavish party inside the house. There was more girls present during that occasion, and Marquis appeared to be fully inebriated. On that note, the anonymous source helped us. But what did the anonymous source gain from this? That's my question. After the hedonistic party, the source wrote his briefcase and the documents it contained were nowhere to be found. We ran an absolute bombshell of an article. Apparently, the Marquess had indeed lost classified policy papers of that fateful night. To make matters worse, he hadn't notified the council of their disappearance. It became a lot harder to give Marquise... See? Decadent escapades when a political integrity of the community was at jeopardy. The Coupier faction initiated a charge declaring the Marquis conduct. See, this is my most challenging, game because of all these frickin' different words. Look at this. Oh, he didn't. He's an elected official after all, and therefore protected by the Constitution. However, his position within the AIO has become precarious since the affair. See, you know what I mean? Like the high school people don't talk like this. They go, "Man, I doubt he'll return after the election." Stop. Oh, she stopped abruptly, looking down at me again. Wait, I'm probably boring you a little bit. It's okay. You should be on your way home. Going to read some more spaghetti before bed. All that just to tell me some history and then you kick me out? I spent most of Thursday afternoon loitering around town trying to find something or someone to write my weekly progress on. Sadly, I searched in vain. It began to dawn on me why Ina uploaded with me in the first place. Then I flashed the corner of my eye. Move away, hellhound. Can you control your dog, please? These Voorhees. Make sure not to go to a camp. Thanks for coming to my rescue again. Feels like he's warming up to you. He didn't bite you this time. Brings you here today. Ina's making me write an article about it could be about any person or event in town. Sorry, I'm checking if everything's going good right now. Perfect. Ina must have a lot of faith in you to entrust you with such an important piece of journalism. I can tell she's a concerning impulse smile. Anyways, if you want to interview me, it may help to re-election. Can you write the whole thing for me? She burst out laughing. Come on, let's go someplace where we can talk. She lets out a long sigh. Small town politics can be a headache. The piece published last week, to be fair, caused quite a bit of commotion. She adopted a more serious demeanor. Let me state first and foremost that our party has always been a prominent free exchange of labor. Okay, I don't... Currently in charge. Laborers come here from all over the low country. So, this may be an important piece of information. Maybe. But, give. Give me something. Let me make some options here. They founded in 2005. Flock 5 is more cautious. That was weird. There was a small incident not long after the party was founded. A group of farm workers were caught stealing food. Petty theft. Do you think people from Flock 5 are behind the murder? No, I don't want you writing that. It's just that the subject matter is more complicated than it seems. Our farm worker. So there was a murder. What about the Coupier faction? The Coupier faction within your party, do they share a stance on your library? Here's one party, we don't have any factions. She began speaking in a hushed voice. Look, I understand you guys feel involved. I'll tell you more, but you have to consider it off the record. I smiled. No problem. I have more than enough material as is. It's a very painful incident for our mayor. The farm murder occurred on the property that belonged to his brother. Now, several voices are implying that the police investigation into the abuse was intentionally halted by Mayor Van Linden and the chief of police. But I know the mayor, he wouldn't do such a thing. After the assault, the victim's co-workers returned to their hometowns. They weren't available for further questioning. The police closed the case because they didn't have any more leads. The mayor's brother, what kind of person is he? I'm not sure. She paused. He works his people hard, a little too hard at times, but he's not a sadist. He wouldn't do that to anyone. Anyways, I really need to get back to work. Oh, you're getting murdered. If you guys want, you can welcome me over to my place for some coffee. I can imagine. I would love to have a source inside the council. Oh, she's definitely getting murdered. She's my inside girl, and they're like, she's speaking in a hushed voice. People are listening. No, she's getting murdered. On Friday, we snuck out of school during our lunch break. Outside of commuting hours, the train only to Hamburg. We ran. See what they're doing to me! Nina. I loved your article. She appeared reluctant to admit it, like a child enjoying broccoli. Had flaws, of course, it's just I never thought about using the weekly progress section that way. Just happened to bump into Karen in the street. Miles of farmland, Nina began murmuring to herself. I haven't seen the bees this year. A few last year. It's crickets now. You know what kept me up last night? The crickets and their maddening song, like 1,000 voices. The crickets do be annoying. As if they sense their impeding death once winter comes. If winter ever comes. Winter is coming. I've never seen Game of Thrones, but winter is coming. I spoke the archivist on the phone. He confirmed that the publication should be there. It's a larger collection of the church inquiries. I'm not reading that. The Reformed Church has always been prone to schisms. In 1834, however, 3 congregations seceded at once out of dissatisfaction with liberal tendencies with Reformed theology at the time. During subsequent decades, many more churches followed in their wake, to the point where remaining pastors felt the time to take action. The Reformed Church is centrally coordinated institution due to the particular state of affairs. However, the remaining pastors agreed to converge in what is named the Presbytery of the Low Countries, resolved to root out churches that appeared to stray in the mainstream Protestant theology by proactively excluding troublesome congregations that the church hoped to end. Document will be consulting the Church Inquiry Commission via Presbytery. Pertains to the congregation on Abbott's Island. Where are we hurrying to Johann Cooper? It would actually lead to the expulsion of the Reformed Church that took place in 1857, not long ago, before the evacuation of the island. Yes, her great-great-grandfather. Okay. We made our way towards the archives. The city was noisy as usual. Achievement unlocked. We're in Brensburg. Yep, we're visiting Brensburg. Carefully planned to function as a metropolitan hub. Beautiful. Been out. How can something that's been thought out meticulously grow into such an abomination? In the past, cities arose out of the countryside, nourishing lovingly by surrounding communities, but now the giant city sucks the country dry and infinitely demanding and devouring fresh streams of men till wearies it dies. Okay. Brensburg has dismissal necropolis wrapped in the sounds of countless invisible cars, all attempting to find their way. She really hates the city. Archives were by the University of Brensburg. We made our way through exhibits till we reached the library. Without much looking around, Ina went up to the archivist and asked him for the document she was looking for. He eyed her up with a bemused glance in the eyes. So, you're the student that made a reservation for theological inquiries? Sure, is there a problem? He chuckled. Oh, not at all. It's just that we don't get many requests for these dusty church annals. It is available for loan to you. You just have to consult at one of our reading tables. Sat down. Open the heavy, leather clean book, a musty fragrance. That's nasty from its yellow page. Sir, you are not preserving this book. Saturday, September 19th, 1856. We set sail early in the morning into the favorable winds of the quiet waters. Abroad were the captain, John H.M. Bourne, and his 2 crew members of traveling merchants, some islanders, and the gentleman Marcus of P. Brushskirt, who would be serving the island as a replacement school teacher. You're excused to read silently if you like. Let me skip ahead a bit. With the good soul wind behind us, it took us less than half an hour to catch the first sight of the isle in the distance. But as we approached the islet, we struck harsh and impotent waves, and the white caps formed around us. Within a matter of minutes, the formerly peaceful sea had erupted in a fierce tempest, rocking our ship to and fro. Though we, as passengers, were distraught at the sudden onset of the storm, our captain reassured us that the sudden gales were not uncommon on the strait of an allied bay. But as I lay cooped up in the ship's stern, I prayed fervently for our safe voyage. There appeared to be no end to the tempest. As I clear view of the ferment from our hiding place, I began to notice this storm is imbued with straight quality of sorts. For although the sea was unruly turmoil, erupting in waves and the eddies of violence, sir, can you not throw waves in my ears right now? The sky above remained blue and completely devoid of wind. It is as though not a gale, but a submarine vortex was kicking up through crashing waves, and when I gathered the courage to look overboard, I fancied, at times, that I could see a thin black ripple coiling through the waves, glistening whenever the surf broke the surface in ever-dazing sun. It took us the greater part of an hour to reach the harbor, and when the ship finally moored, the tempest abruptly came to the home. In a matter of minutes, the waves disappeared and the sea returned to its normal calm, as no storm had later laid eyes on it, and the Demeanor was sunk. No, those who have read Dracula or know have seen the movie The Voyage of the Demeanor be crazy. Scores of the islanders had spilled from their houses to congregate. What are you? Immediately I could discern a tall figure of Reverend Coupier, with his chalky white hair that appeared to glow against the block of the cassock, standing with his outstretched arms as if, "Can you not be so loud, piano?" She read silently for a while. Thomas stayed at the Manze, where the Coupier family provided him food, dry clothing. After his dire journey, he describes the Reverend Coupier as a dignified gentleman. Makes a special note of his daughter. Secretive young woman with flowback. Yeah, I think he fell in love. First service on the island. Her face went from smiling to not smiling. I attended Sunday service the next morning. Observant proceeded in the great solemnity in the commemoration of 2 fishermen that were lost at sea last week. Came nautical themes alluding to both calling of the fishes and the beast Leviathan. However, I believe nothing to be out of the ordinary for sea-feeling communities. Monday morning, 2 men conversed together, delving the deep into Coupier's religious teaching. Let me skim through this part real quickly. After what it felt like a centauri, Ina looked at me and began reciting. What have I come to learn is worrisome. I can only conclude that Coupier's theology in its essence lacks the eschatological underpinnings of our shared faith, substituting these core tenets with a view of historical redemption that is cynical in nature. For Coupier, the Testament cultivates seamlessly into the Book of Job, leading to all of biblical history, including the Synoptic Gospels, to recur again and again. Based on our conversation, I'm inclined to agree that the indignant that the creed is proclaimed on this island is fundamentally alien to... You ever hear somebody just say words, like say a lot of things and mean nothing? I'm inclined to doubt Cooper's worldview is truly Trinitarian. I rescued myself for an afternoon walk in order to meditate on our conversation. As I made my way across the perimeter of the aisle, I looked onto the glittering endless sea. I couldn't help but notice I was being trailed by a dark figure. I turned around just in time to catch a glimpse of Hendrika. Asking if she would care to join me, she let out a shrill laugh and ran away. Ina pulled a concerned face. Strange, there isn't much more to report. He skips over a few days and recounts the last meeting between men on Friday evening. I am now confident that the Reverend Cooper and I have reached a mutual degree of understanding. I am fully confident now that his doctrines are wholly in accordance with the three... Interesting. Apparent misunderstandings appear to be derived from my own ignorance. Something happened in those 3 days. Strange. Doesn't it? Doesn't change the tone at the end. Sources state that the Reformed Church was ejected based on this report. However, the conclusion doesn't point in that direction at all. Appears to be a waste of time. Not really, if you actually figure out what happened between those days. I was taking an interest in those old pieces of bookkeeping. Like I said, I haven't been requested in decades. He went silent for a while. Guess the report on them is pretty boring. Yep, he knows something. Some notes that were left out of the public report. Piano. This dude's going in. This is pretty rare, though. I believe there's only 2 copies ever printed. Good question. One is in the private library of the Council Reformed Church and try to petition them, however. And the other? Sent to the Isle of Abbot in 1857, the town had a right to know why their church was being ejected. Has it been pruned from the collection? It should still be in the town's archives. Save us. You could have saved us a lot of time by telling this up front. What a bitch. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that. On the way back to the station, we passed a small, indistinct-looking theater. Ina nudged me. Look, the nightclub I told you about, the one where Marquise was spotted. Looks grimy as ever. 6 o'clock train. Throughout our voyage, I could hear Ina mumbling to herself in excitement. Saturday came, I was set to work. Everything went noticeably smoother than the last time, when I was struck with a sad realization that I must become an experienced paper boy. When my work day ended, I returned home for a shower, changed of clothes, and after I briefly spoke with my dad. I brought up how he hasn't been home much lately, and he told me not to exaggerate. Okay. Who will I see at this cafe? I arrived at Omega Figure. A few licensed established Rika. Oh, this is Rika's date. Okay. I should order some side dishes. The fresh anchovies. Well, excellent. Not an agreement. As settled in, Rika started staring at me, beaming in a playful anticipation. She let out a restraining cough. So I heard you've been hanging out with May again. Your spies are doing excellent work. She laughed. Oh no, it's not like that this time. May told me herself. In fact, she hasn't stopped talking about you since last Tuesday. Your misadventures among the megalith and such. Gently she had brushing her fingers through her onyx hair, and the subtle repetitive motions eluding, smoothing calm, though she was comforting frightened creature. And I think that may not be so bad. It's good for her to have somebody converse with her on her level. Her level? Oh, don't take it the wrong way. It's just that May's always been a bit of a loner. She never attended regular school. She hasn't had the chance to make friends among her peers. But for you, an outsider should be the same. Just let me know if she becomes a burden, okay? Damn! I'm not really sure that had already been reached, but tell me, how did your workday go? No big headliners this week? She's trying to get information out of me, too. How dare you such a thing? Didn't you read our exclusive report on idiosyncratic migration patterns on Hockey Dragonfly? Turned her attention towards the menu card. Her bottom lip with disinterest. The restaurant wasn't anything fancy Italian in the name. Don't think that headline will cause any trouble this time. That's good. We don't want any trouble down here. Yeah, she's... Ina attacks trouble. I don't like you, Rika. I'm sorry. I just don't. Gentleman in town who caused an embarrassment last year. Ina, of course, wrote all about it. She flapped her hand rapidly after shaking off disgusting substance. To think he considered himself nobility. Nobility? You'd be referring to the Marquise, would you? Well, Ina has been mentoring you very well. The current Lord of the Isle is quite the character indeed, though I wouldn't say he deserved his title. From the late Middle Ages onward, his clan ruled the island. That's how you sound, you freaking prick. They own most of the land over here, but only to collect taxes. They lived in the mainland. To finance their lavish lifestyle among the nations, they leached on the poor fishers and clergymen of Abad. But the lords never considered anything of substance. She smiled. You can imagine how distraught they were when the decision fell to evacuate in 1857. I'm gonna find to get to the bottom of this. To stay out of poverty, the clan sold about half the island to the Church of Abba, whose members would remain on the isle. Their glory days to be over, they had to live frugally. Thing changed though after the reclamation. Why'd it go dark? Marquise Lord was one of the first to return. They claim on the island that his family was still leaguered and tied to. Louis played important role developing Abbotsford in the 20th century. Major agrarian hub, inviting farmers all over the Low Countries to move here. Had a little boy with them, young Leopold. Leopold. You can imagine a native population wasn't too happy with that. They weren't. Initially, there was lots to strive. As more and more farmers arrived, newcomers began outnumbering the islanders. So ARA regulated. It wasn't all bad. Since the evacuation, the church was the second largest landowner in the Isle. Inflated house prices were very good for us too. In the end, Marquise played an important role in reconciling the two sides. Okay. I mean, the church would retain control. That's not good state affairs of the island, while the newcomers still felt represented. Here doesn't have factions. All politicians operate in the... Interesting. She winked. He was a blemish in our town. I wouldn't mind you writing another article on him. Let me know if you need more information. Yeah, to badmouth him? It was though the information she was disclosing was being carefully measured out. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. She only wiped her mouth on her napkin and looked up at me. Is there anything else you'd like to tell me? Oh, plenty. I just like to stay one step ahead of Ina's games. Yo, what? It's getting very late. I have to be at church tomorrow by 9. Oh, she brainwashed. Imagine what that's like. Imagine how I feel. You've been living your whole life on an island, and then suddenly you witness the water drops around you. Endless wastelands, stinking marshes. People here spent their lives in the midst of a majestic sea, but in periods of less than a year, all that was reduced to stern with decaying fish corpses. There have always been higher powers that decide over the power, but be the Lord's. This church might be a cult. They would have shown the vines of grapes, and being futile and angry, helping the forces that may be. For some reason, it strengthened their faith. Realized that they rely on a far higher power to deliver them, those tyrannical pharaohs. Native inhabitants of Abbot truly feel like God's people. During the reclamation, okay. Oh, excuse me, apologies. A sudden succession of roaring eddies inhibited work for those. You know what? I'm gonna keep going. I know this video is a little long, but I want to know what this lady has to say. I think they ascribed the phenomenon to ocean currents sent by wayward. However, that doesn't sound like all these workmen described. They spoke about raging tempests and huge waves. She took out a purse and put a 50 on the table. Anyways, I had a great time, Abe. I'd love to do this again. I thanked her and told her I felt the same way. Then I reached for my wallet to pay for my share of the meal. Save your hard-earned money. My father said he'd cover the tab. I grumbled. So I need to save Ina and May, and then uppercut Rika. Damn. Went out to Rika, who was likely expected to be present and presentable for all of today's services, until I dozed off yet again. When I made it out of bed, I could see May standing outside, dressed head to toe in immaculate black. She told me, posted around throughout the service until finally she agreed to give me your address. I think she was embarrassed. I am going to save. There we go. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. I will continue this shortly. Not shortly. I'll continue this soon. I'm very invested now. I need to save May basically. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I hope you have a good day. Please like and subscribe.